Hit it.
Number 10, the entire Rocky Horror Picture Show episode. The 5th episode of Glee's 2nd season begins with a very angry Dr. Carl Howell storming into Glee Club rehearsal and claiming Mr. Schue is attempting to get his girlfriend Emma. But hitting on a woman in a committed relationship is far from the worst thing Will does while putting on the Rocky Horror Picture Show. In tried and true Mr. Schue fashion, he casts himself in the titular role.
I'm sorry?
I figured if Carl can play Eddie, then I can play Rocky.
Not only does he take the part away from a student, but he does so knowing he'll have to perform songs of a risque nature with underage members of the cast.
Isn't that the whole point of the arts? Pushing boundaries? Doing things people say you can't do for the sake of self-expression?
Touch me? Please don't.
Creature of the night!
Creature of the night!
Number 9, bullying Beiste. Coach Beiste's arrival at McKinley immediately poses a threat to Mr. Schue. After Principal Figgins is convinced to cut funding for the cheer squad and the Glee Club, the football team now has more money.
This is being mandated at the district level, guys. Studies show that the best way to bring in alumni donations is through a successful athletic department. Specifically, a winning football team.
Mr. Schue could have handled this like an adult, but where's the fun in that? He joins forces with Sue and proceeds to bully Beiste to quit.
Beiste is on the move. Operation Mean Girl is a go.
But the worst part about his behavior is that most of the pranks he and Sue pull have to do with Coach Beiste's looks. When they order pizzas for Beiste, it's clearly a weight comment. You'd think a teacher would be more sensitive to the effects of bullying, but Mr. Schue is anything but.
Everybody told me that Sue was a school bully and that you were really cool. I see they got that last part wrong, huh?
Number 8, singing La Cucaracha in costume. Appropriation is the name of the game for this entry.
Should have known by the looks on my students' faces that I'd really stepped in it.
In addition to an egregiously offensive performance of A Little Less Conversation, where Mr. Schue dresses up as a torero, this episode opens with one of the most insulting Glee performances ever.
La cucaracha! Oh! La cucaracha, la cucaracha. Hey, hey! Ya no puede caminar porque le falta, porque le falta.
Mr. Schue has the brilliant idea to sing La Cucaracha to his Spanish class while dressed in stereotypical garb. He tries to pass these two off as actual lessons, but Santana ultimately calls him out.
Why don't you just dress up as the Taco Bell Chihuahua and bark the theme song to Dora the Explorer? You don't even know enough to be embarrassed about these stereotypes that you're perpetuating.
That's not fair.
Isn't it?
He eventually admits he only took the job because it was the last position open. For someone who talks a big game about following your passions, it's obvious he has none for the Spanish language. That's a failing grade in our book. Number 7, letting his students sing and twerk to blurred lines. When they said Viva la Revolucion, we're not sure this is what they meant.
The fact is, twerking is about blurring the lines between past and the present, between men and women, between tradition and envelope pushing. It's all in that Alan Thicke song that I love.
Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke?
Exactly.
That's not what that song's about.
When Sue, now principal, bans twerking at McKinley, Mr. Schue takes it upon himself to retaliate.
Sue Sylvester wants to draw a line in the sand? Well, we're gonna blur it and blow this debate wide open. Yeah!
He, along with a plethora of high schoolers, protest by twerking their way down the halls. This is just one of many examples of Mr. Schue's unfortunate habit of dancing inappropriately with his students. But the song choice here makes it worse than those other times. Encouraging your students to sing a controversial song, especially considering the topic, yep, that's not the best look as an educator.
Well, you need to back your ass up to the fact that you, a married 37-year-old, just performed a song about coercive sexual advances as 9 minors twerked alongside you down the hallways of a public high school.
It's called the First Amendment, Sue.
Number 6, tricking Sue into falling in love with him. Sue is far from the nicest character on Glee.
William, I'm gonna have to ask you to clear out. Received an anonymous tip from someone who wants to meet me here to discuss an illegal hot Cheetos ring. Hot Cheetos have been proven to raise endorphins, which makes for happy kids, and I can't have that.
But even she doesn't deserve the humiliation Mr. Schue inflicts on her in the show's 21st episode. In the wake of his divorce, Mr. Schue decides he's had enough of Sue's rude remarks and pretends he has a crush on her.
Oh, wow.
What?
It's nothing. It's just the way the light hit you just now. You look stunning.
After a performance of Tell Me Something Good and a lot of painful hip thrusting, Will asks Sue out on a date.
You have nationals this Saturday, right?
Why do you ask?
Because I'd like to take you to dinner this week. How's Wednesday night? Breadsticks. Good.
But when the night comes, he doesn't show and leaves her alone and embarrassed. Not only is this whole thing downright mean, but also Will doesn't even apologize until he realizes how her shame affects the cheerleaders who perform in his Glee club. Selfish until the very end. Number 5, pressuring Emma to come with him to Washington. If you needed evidence that Mr. Schue would make a terrible boyfriend, look no further. When Will gets the opportunity to go to Washington for a job, he asks Emma to go with him.
Gosh, I'd love to. For like a long weekend or something, that would be wonderful.
No, like for a few months. I want you to be there with me.
She clearly says she doesn't want to go. She has a job and a life in Lima, and doesn't want to end up resenting Will for asking her to leave.
This isn't a permanent thing, Emma. It's like an extended vacation, a sabbatical. Teachers take them all the time.
I don't want a sabbatical.
But I thought you were supportive of this.
I am because I know how much this means to you, but this is for you. I didn't know you just expected me to drop my entire life.
Will gaslights her and basically calls her unsupportive.
So you thought I'd just pop the champagne, follow you around like an obedient little puppy dog? Is that really all you think of me, Will?
No, of course not, Emma. Oh, come on, we still need to talk about this.
You just did. I just don't like what I have to say.
She stands her ground for as long as she can, but eventually breaks down and agrees. Mr. Schue may find Emma unsupportive, but by not taking her needs into account, he ends up proving his own failings as a support system. Number 4, every time he rapped. From Gold Digger to Thong Song, Mr. Schue's questionable rapping skills and misplaced desire to relate to his students was often on full display.
I am shocked at the lack of leading man ambition in this room right now.
It's okay, Rachel. I guess I'm gonna have to show these guys how it's done.
An impromptu Mr. Schue rap could be considered a staple of Glee, although not a very good one. For 6 years, audiences everywhere were subjected to a multitude of cringeworthy performances that were never better than the original.
She had dumps like a truck, thighs like what, baby move your butt, I think I'm singing again.
Honestly, every performance of his should probably come with a disclaimer. He may be a good singer, but he should leave the rapping to the pros. And if you don't know, now you know.
If you ain't no punk, holla, we want prenup. We want prenup, yeah!
Number 3, suspending Marley for not wanting to wear a revealing costume. What's the opposite of enforcing a school dress code? During a performance of Lady Gaga's Applause, Marley opts for a Katy Perry-inspired look in lieu of a more scandalous Gaga costume. Her fellow students are upset with her, but she maintains that the revealing outfit made her uncomfortable.
What happened to the seashell bikini?
I wasn't comfortable.
Well, get over yourself. You think I'm just comfortable up here with no shirt on?
Yeah, you probably are.
Any regular teacher would come to her aid, but Mr. Schue is anything but normal. He accuses Marley of putting her personal agenda above the rest of the team and suspends her for the week.
I'm sorry, you guys, but I am who I am, and I'm not gonna change that for any number or any guy.
Marley, we're all trying to win a championship here, as a team, but you put your personal agenda above that. I'm sorry, but you're suspended for the rest of the week.
If Marley's personal agenda is wearing clothes that make her feel good, then we're all for it. But here, Mr. Schue proves he has little regard for a teenage girl's feelings. We don't think Katy or Lady Gaga would approve.
Oh, snap!
Number 2, blackmailing Finn into joining Glee Club. This is almost the worst thing that Mr. Schue does, and it happens in the very first episode of the series. Desperately searching for kids for his new Glee Club, Mr. Schue overhears Finn singing in the shower and hatches a plot to force him to join.
Baby, I can't fight this feeling anymore.
What I did then was the blackest moment of my life.
He plants weed in Finn's locker and gives him an ultimatum: detention or Glee Club.
Look, if it were up to me, we wouldn't have mandatory bi-weekly afternoon locker checks.
But I've never seen that before, Mr. Schue, I swear. It's not mine.
Right away, we know how far Mr. Schue is willing to go. And the worst part, he never faces any consequences.
It was wrong, and although I can't argue with the results, I've always hated myself for doing it. I'm very sorry, Finn, but I wanted you to know the truth before you left, so.
When he tells Finn later on, Finn responds with,
"You are so much cooler than I ever thought you were."
"Yeah, drugs and blackmail. Real cool, Finn." Before we unveil our worst number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions. The toxic performance. This performance should come with a warning.
Too high, can't come down. It's in the air.
Mr. Schue, let me be your friend!
Oh, can you feel me now?
That noise during Kiss. You can never unhear it.
Hit it.
You're all minorities. This is just factually inaccurate.
You were right to shine the spotlight on the fact that those kids are minorities. Because you're all minorities. You're in the Glee Club.
Mistreating Finn after he confesses to kissing Emma. Mr. Schue turns holding a grudge into an Olympic sport.
Here are the lattes that Mr. Schue made me get everybody.
I asked for 2 pumps of mocha, Finn. I taste 3. Take them back. All of them.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, always favoring Rachel and Finn over all other Glee Club members. Did you know that Finn and Rachel aren't the only members of the Glee Club? You could be forgiven for thinking that they were, because for the first few seasons, they're seemingly the only 2 on Mr. Schue's radar.
Oh, hell to the nah! Look, I'm not down with this background singing nonsense. I'm Beyonce. I ain't no Kelly Rowland.
Okay, look, Mercedes, it's just one song.
Despite the amazing talents of Santana, Mercedes, Kurt, Tina, and all the other students, Mr. Schue has to be called out before he starts to give anyone else a solo with regularity.
Everyone knows that Rachel is your favorite.
That's not true.
You give that skinny Geronimo wearing ass kisser everything. And for 2 years, I took it. But not anymore. I'm done.
Even after the call-out, he still favors Rachel and Finn. His obsession with the 2 is a little creepy at times. He even asks Finn to be his best man.
You taught me more about being a man than anyone I've ever known. You stand up for your friends. You're not afraid to cry. And you'll make sure I don't do anything too stupid at my bachelor party.
Talk about taking favoritism to a whole new level. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Ms. Mojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.